Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into human trafficking in Thailand, but we're going past the headlines and looking at the laws themselves. I mean, how does a country actually build a legal shield to protect people from such a horrific crime? We're going to unpack the international rules and the specific Thai laws that form the front line in this battle.
So here's our roadmap. First up, we need a really clear definition. What actually is human trafficking in the eyes of the law? Then we'll zoom out to see the global and regional teamwork involved, before zeroing right back in on Thailand's own legal playbook and how it's designed to bring about justice.
All right, first things first. You can't fight a crime if you can't define it. So legally speaking, what exactly are we talking about when we say human trafficking?
Now that's a question with a very, very specific answer. It's not just about smuggling people across a border. The law, both internationally and in Thailand, is actually looking for a combination of three distinct components to all be there at the same time.
And this right here, this is the official definition from the UN's Palermo Protocol. It's pretty much the global standard. And you'll notice, it's about so much more than just moving people. It's a chain of events. There's an action, like recruitment, carried out through some kind of manipulation or force, all for one single terrible purpose: exploitation.
Okay, this slide really breaks it down. Think of it like a legal recipe or a checklist. For a prosecutor to make a human trafficking charge stick, they have to prove all three of these things happened. You need the act, like transporting someone. You need the means, like using threats or lies. And you need the purpose, which is always exploitation. If you're missing even one of those pieces, the whole case could just fall apart.
And that last piece of the puzzle, exploitation. Well, it's a chillingly broad term. We're talking about forced labor in factories or on fishing boats, sexual exploitation, and practices that are, let's be honest, modern-day slavery. It even covers something as horrific as the removal of organs. This is the why behind the whole crime.
So, now that we have that definition locked in, how does the world even begin to organize a response? I mean, traffickers don't respect borders, so the fight against them can't either. It has to be a global team effort.
And check this out. This mind map from our source just illustrates the whole structure perfectly. You can really see how it all connects. On one side, you've got these international and regional agreements setting the standards, and on the other, you have Thailand's own domestic laws, which are designed to bring those standards to life on the ground.
You know, this global fight didn't just happen overnight. It's been built up for decades. It started with broader protections, like the Convention on the Rights of the Child, but then it got way more specific, with these really powerful agreements designed to zero in on trafficking itself, especially when it comes to protecting women and children.
But out of all those international agreements, the 2000 Palermo Protocol is the big one. It's called the cornerstone for a reason. It's what established that universal, three-part definition of trafficking we just talked about. It created a common language, a common legal foundation that every country could then build on.
Okay, so that's the big picture, the global framework. But what about closer to home? In a region as tightly connected as Southeast Asia, teamwork between neighbors is absolutely critical. So the ASEAN nations came up with their own strategy.
Back in 2014, the ASEAN nations rolled out ACTIP. It's a really simple but powerful plan with three main goals: prevent trafficking from even starting, protect the victims, and cooperate across borders. The mission really is to make sure there are no safe havens for traffickers anywhere in the region.
So, with this strong international and regional foundation set, let's look at that final pillar. How does Thailand take all these global principles and translate them into its own legal arsenal?
The number one weapon in Thailand's legal fight is this: the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2008. This is the centerpiece, the core piece of domestic law that defines the crime within Thailand's borders and lays out the government's entire response.
And this law is really comprehensive. It's not just about punishing the bad guys. What's so crucial is that it sets up a whole system of aid and protection for victims, recognizing that they're not criminals, they're survivors who need real support. It also creates the official government committees and funding to actually coordinate this fight nationwide.
So here's the key takeaway. Thailand has this two-pronged approach. The 2008 Act defines the crime itself. But then a second law, the 2016 Act on Procedure, defines the process. And this second law is so important because it creates a special path through the justice system, one that's designed to be faster and, hopefully, less re-traumatizing for victims. It makes sure these cases are handled with the sensitivity they deserve.
All right, let's connect all these dots. We've got a global definition, we've got regional cooperation, and we've got specific national laws. What does this whole web of legislation actually add up to?
So what's the point of all these layers, from the UN to ASEAN, all the way down to the specific Thai courts? It's all about building a system that works on every level, protecting victims, punishing perpetrators, and ultimately trying to stop this crime before it ever has a chance to begin.
And that really leaves us with a final and pretty crucial question. Thailand has built this strong legal foundation, no doubt about it. But laws on paper, well, they're just the start. With traffickers constantly changing their tactics, the real challenge now is enforcement and adaptation. So, how do we make sure these laws actually live up to their promise of a future free from exploitation?